folks that work in your department with you. Is there anybody that might be back in their office that we need to go get? That this fell off their radar. It's a big building. All right, so you think we got everybody? Yeah?
Yeah, where's Mary?
Mary was up at Dallas for that.
Oh, that's right, she had Dallas for that.
We're going to start this morning with introducing new staff. So in Three Rivers, since our last meeting, which was in June, we had Caitlin Gross join us as a public health nurse. Here in Coldwater, you could raise your Amanda, just one at a time so I know which one's which. I haven't met all of you guys yet. Amanda, public health nurse, and Angela, clinic clerk tech. Brooke is visioneering tech. Welcome to the group. Morgan, way in the back. Morgan's a breastfeeding peer. Nice to meet you all. I'm sorry I haven't actually had a chance to meet you in person yet. And Hillsdale, Olivia Jacobs is a new EH sanitarian that joined us over in Hillsdale. So welcome to all of those folks. The next thing on our agenda is number 3, open enrollment, and I'll turn it over to Teresa to talk about that.
Yeah, so it is that time of year when we start making preparations for open enrollment for the employer-sponsored medical insurance plans. We will do open enrollment in the month of December. We have not gotten our rates yet back from the insurance company, so we don't know. We are expecting a 12 to 15% increase, and that will obviously need discussion by the board. We are hopeful that we can maintain all of the plans that we have currently, but it's really up in the air. The important thing is we are doing open enrollment in December. It will be the same way we did it last year. There will be a benefits guide that comes to you that explains all the benefits and a paper enrollment form that you have to fill out and return to us. Next year, we will move to an electronic open enrollment, but we weren't able to get that quite done yet for this open enrollment period. So not a lot of details yet because we don't have rates, but we're hopeful that we can maintain what we have today.
Training form.
Oh yeah, the new training form. So at your place you have, or at your place over there, when you picked it up, there's a new training form. So the old training form was really complicated and it really didn't make much sense. It was hard to fill out. People got confused and that caused lots of times the paperwork got to payroll and the payroll couldn't process it because it wasn't done right. So my staff took a stab at redoing this in a totally different fashion, which we hope will make it easier for everyone to fill out. So if you're going to a training for the agency, there is a before training side and an after training side. So on the before training side, what you have to do is you have to fill this out and you have to predict what your expenses are. Then your supervisor will approve this, hopefully, so that you can go to the training. Then when you get back from the training, you flip it over and you fill out what your actual expenses were and what you're going to be reimbursed for, what you're asking for reimbursement for. So the things that are important about this that hang people up. One is on the front of the training form, we ask for a lot of information about the hotel. That's because Chris, our lovely Chris Ash, books those hotels for you. And so she needs all that information. If you are issued the P card when you are traveling to put the hotel on, that is all you should be putting on there. You should not be putting any other expenses on the P card. If the P card is given to you, that's a credit card. It is to pay for the hotel. That's the only thing you should put on there. Meals expense, you have to pay for and then you reimburse when you get back. Another thing that hangs people up is we must have an itemized receipt. So a lot of times if you use your credit card, they give you a statement that says, oh, your meal was $27, whatever. We can't pay you back off of that. We have to have the itemized receipt that indicates what you ordered because the agency can't pay for alcoholic beverages. So we have to see that itemized receipt to make sure that there's nothing on there that we can't pay for. So if you don't give us the itemized one, then we can't pay you back. Yes.
If you go to a hotel and they charge for parking, where should that expense go on this form and how will that be reimbursed?
That would be an other, and it would be a reimbursement like a meal. So you would just explain in other what it was for, and
Yeah,
then
lots of the hotels, they just include it on your bill, so
Chris.
lots of them that you, if we have let park be charged to the P card, because it is put right out as your charge.
Okay, I'm okay with that. If it's on the hotel bill, that can be put on the P card. Anything else that I am forgetting to say that trips people up, Chris?
Just that, so you always know, like, it states breakfast is currently $7.50 per meal per day. So if you go to McDonald's and your breakfast is $10, you're only gonna get $7.50. If you go to McDonald's and your breakfast is $5, you're gonna get $5. So, that goes for each lunch, $10, dinner, $15. So you're only, that's the max amount that you're going to get. If it's less than that, you're gonna get whatever you paid for. Advice received.
And the last thing I want to say about this is if you go to a training, this has to be back to payroll at the time your timesheet is due. That covers that time period. So if you went to training last week, timesheets were due on Friday, this training form has to be submitted on Friday too, because that's when the expenses need to be charged, is to that time period. So it goes along with your payroll, that time period. Any questions?
What time period? For there over the weekend? Time period? Start a new one?
Never seen that happen. But if it did happen, I would wait and file it the second week when you have all your expenses. Anything else?
Somebody asked in Three Rivers earlier this week about the reimbursement amount for meals. We know they're low. We recognize that. So, it is something that we recognize. I don't know if it'll change, but it is on our radar. Okay. So just so you know, we are aware that it's really not enough.
And the training form can be found, I was going to show you, but I'm not hooked up to the internet yet. The training form can be found in the Share Drive in Coldwater under the timesheets folder if you need it. Or you can ask Chris if she can provide it.
So are all the old training forms gone? Did we manage to find them and get rid of them?
I don't think we've done that part yet.
Okay. Don't use the old one. So we're going to move on to number 5, email streams and chat. So obviously we have a new email system and it's been lots of fun. Some people I know find it a little more challenging than others, but it's got some pretty cool features and we wanted to talk about those and make sure everybody is comfortable with them, understands how to access them, and the purpose for each. So are you still connecting with
I am.
what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, clearly I did not type something right.
Starts with an exclamation point.
That's what I thought.
Second time's a charm.
Hopeful. Ta-da. Okay, so email streams. Get back up there. So in your email, you have this area over here on this left side of your screen. And it has all of this stuff in it. Somewhere, it might be at the top, it might be at the bottom, it might be at the middle. You have this thing called streams. And in streams, you should see this one called BHSJ Insider. And that is a social media-like space where we can share things with each other. Only internally to our agency can see this. And that is where you would put things that don't require an immediate response. Instead of sending an email that says, hey, everybody, we're having a potluck, it goes in streams because it doesn't require immediate assistance. Okay. Hey, everybody, the birthdays for November are X, Y, and Z. That goes in streams so people can go there when they have time to go there and look at that stuff. And it's not coming into their inbox like it needs an immediate attention. So when we do coffee donations, when we do birthdays, new employees that are hired, their pictures get sent out and we welcome them. That all happens on streams because it doesn't require somebody to immediately respond. If you need vaccine to go to another office or you need something taken and you need to know if anybody's going that direction, then you're going to want to put that in an email because somebody needs to respond to that right away saying, hey, I'm going, I can take it with me. And it will ensure that we get things where they're going. But things that don't require an immediate response or a response at all should be more directed towards the streams. And a lot of people don't know or didn't understand the streams. So there's a lot of stuff that's kind of been going back and forth. And hopefully after these quarterly staff meetings, we'll get a lot more traffic on streams as far as people reading what's out there. I put out there stuff like these Stay Well sessions that they're free and open to anyone. They come to us. So I put them out there so you guys know about them. Chris Dewey put something out there when she was going to be out of the office. She put something out there about the nationwide emergency drill. Here are the birthdays. And then you can see on this one, people can comment here, like on social media. So it keeps the like stuff together and people can just scroll through here like they do social media and read what's out there. This is also a place where, if somebody does a great job, like gets a public health award, we can do an attaboy out here on streams and then people can see it and they can comment on it and congratulate people. But it doesn't fill up everybody's inbox with them trying to figure out, is this something that needs my attention? It doesn't. If it's on streams, it doesn't need immediate attention, but it's something that you can go look at once or twice a day. And it will tell you here if there's anything unread. See, I have this all unread thing here. If I click on that, it's going to show me everything that's there that I haven't read. And in this particular instance, this is a little bit further down, but you see, it brings up only the things that I have not read. So that actually was not a streams message, which is why I didn't leave it up there very long. But streams, we are hoping, can help us further communication. It keeps things out of people's inboxes, but allows for collaboration, participation, and communication. So that is one thing that the new email does that we are really excited about. Another thing to be aware of is there is a way you can comment or share an email with someone. And it doesn't necessarily put it in your inbox. It's kind of confusing for folks. So there is this message right here that says unread. This was an email. I sent an email to Rebecca. Or no, she sent me an email. And I commented back on it. I sent it to her. She commented back to me. See, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I sent it to her. She commented back on it, and you see her comment down here at the bottom. So it never came back into my inbox. It just shows up as all unread messages. It would also show up over here in this quandary of things that shows up over here to tell me right here, she shared an email with me. So some people are using that feature and some people aren't, and they don't even notice if somebody sent them back something. So you're going to want to keep track of these notifications and or this all unread feature. So sometimes where this might be handy. So for example, we have a certain amount of Nightingale Notes licenses. I got an email from the vendor. They're processing a renewal. Do we want to keep the same number of licenses? I don't necessarily need an email chain going back and forth between me and Alan. I shared the email with him through a comment at the bottom. How many are we currently using? He can share it back to me, and then I can just respond to her, the person that emailed me, and she don't see any of that, right? Alan uses it a lot. He loves it. I think he's the only one, but he's an early adopter of technology sometimes. So, attaboy, Alan. But Streams is out here for you. The other thing that we had a lot of conversation about yesterday that people didn't understand was chat and the use of chat and how it works. So you have this little thing down here, and it will, the TazBot. I hate the TazBot. But that's also where chats would come in. So if I wanted to chat Rebecca, I could start typing her name here, and she'd come up. And then I could type, hello. And she gets, you probably didn't hear it, but that little ding pops up, and then it pops up on her screen. Don't answer me, just wait.
Damn.
Okay. Well, then it pops up on my screen. See how she's down here? And then I can see her response back. So it's a easy way to get a quick answer if you don't want to send an email and wait for them to respond, which is why I hate it, but I sometimes love it. If I'm the one that wants the quick answer, then I love it. If I'm the one that people are like, why didn't you answer my chat? Then I hate it because I don't always see it come in. If I don't hear it ding, then I don't always notice it. So it is something that you have available to you. A couple things to note. Oh, I was going to show you how to check to see if the person had read it. So if you can see, this one has 2 little check marks here. That means they read it. If there's only 1 check mark there, they didn't read it yet. So before you yell at them about, why didn't you answer me? They didn't read it. If there's only 1 check mark there. That's right, isn't it, Justin? Okay, yep. So if it's got 2 check marks, they read it. If it has 1 check mark, they did not read it. I was going to say something else. I don't remember what. Oh, yes, they are FOIA-able. So anything that you put in a chat is FOIA-able and can be FOIA'd by someone or Freedom of Information Act requested by someone, and we would have to turn it over. So make sure you keep your chats business and professional. Anything about email, chat, streams? Any questions?
Change your status on there too, so if it's red. Want to receive, or is that available?
You can change your status on here.
Yeah.
So then if you, in case, I'm just going to go back. So if you click on the chat box and then these 3 little dots right here, and then change status, you can say busy, invisible, away, or available.
We're here for you.
Alan's really good at that. So if you have an IT thing and you want to chat Alan, you can usually tell if he's there or not because he's really good about doing that. I'm not so good about changing my status. Anything else?
The dinging, does that just happen when you do chats or does it ding when you get an email too?
It does both.
Oh, that's what I need to know, how to do that.
Get with Justin. He'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, because
Email come in that was like a confirmation of a, event, but it came in under newsletters. Is there a reason? Okay. Thank you.
Yes, that's a horrible feature. I hate that about the new email system. But when you turn it off, it's great.
I appreciate your help. Thanks.
Anything else? Chris? Yes. Anything else? Questions, comments? Who loves the new email system? I'll get to you, Lisa. Go ahead, Lisa.
Basically in my.
That's a glitch. Multiple people have had it. Believe me, I've ripped into them about it.
We didn't know you had a roof inside, do you?
Anything else email wise? All right, moving on.
Pull that up while I talk for a second. So the next thing on the agenda is the personnel policy manual updates. The personnel policy committee, who in this office is Chris, and help me out, who's your second? Candy. Yeah, I should have known that. Chris and Candy represent the Coldwater office on that committee. They had been working on some updates to the personnel policies that went to the August meeting, and the board accepted those changes. So we did send an email out notifying everyone that the policies had been updated, and we are going to just show you them here and just kind of walk through them when we get there. I went to the PPA committee.
Oh, well, I did. I went to the full board.
Yeah, I noticed.
Somewhere, I swear there's a change here.
Right there. Huh. All right, so the first change you will find under longevity, and what happened there was part-time staff are now eligible for longevity pay. So the part-time or folks that were here, like some people started with us part-time and then they moved into a full-time position. We are going back and recognizing that time that they were here part-time from now on. So, but the date, so they may have hired in part-time in January, but became full-time in August. And so they've been getting their longevity recognition in August, right? We're not going to go change that back to January, but we will recognize when it is time for longevity, that person's part-time time when we work those numbers. Okay.
Yeah. So if you've already been receiving a longevity payment, it will still come on the same date that it has been coming on every year. If you have not ever received a longevity payment, it will come on your higher date.
Chris, what'd you want to say? Oh, that was it? Okay. So that's really it. Any questions on this one? All right, and then I'll move on down. Scrolling and looking for Rick.
Yep.
Right there. All right, so then a lot of the changes that happened after that really related to updates and how we send notifications out. So when we have a bad weather notification now, we use that teletask, so what it's called, teletask system. So you get a text message. We have practiced that a few times. Unless you're really, really new, you probably already know about this. Yeah, does that sound familiar to everybody? What's really important when you get one of these notifications is that you respond to it. Well, there's really two things. One, we need to know your cell number. Because if you change cell numbers and you don't tell us, you're not going to get the notification. And then you might be driving into work in a snowstorm blizzard when the office is closed, right? We don't want you driving in a blizzard. We want you to get our text message. So first, we need your updated number at all times. So if you change your number, you need to let us know. And then secondly, you need to let us know you got the message, which is super important. Because if you don't respond to that, then me, Teresa, directors, supervisors are going to start calling you to make sure that you have gotten our message. And that's really, really time consuming. We don't want to have to do that. So as soon as that alert comes, you need to respond to it. And especially if it's a bad weather day, please pay attention to your phone. I know sometimes we put our phone and we walk away from it for a little while. If it's a bad weather day and you think something might be happening, please pay attention to your phone so you can respond right away. Even in a drill situation, when we drill this stuff, we want you to reply right away. Okay? Chris, do you have anything else you want to say about that?
So when we do drill, anytime we drill anything to do with emergency and responding back, our goal is to have everyone in the organization respond within 1 hour. That's what we're graded upon. And if we don't hit the hour, then I have to drill us again. So you will, right now, my schedule is that we do quarterly text alerts. So they will be unannounced, but they will happen at least once every quarter.
All right. All right, moving down.
What is, when you get the message, are we still required to say you're on a vacation day?
I mean, if you get it and you see it, yeah, if you see it and you get it, respond, right? But I mean, if you're on vacation, no, you're not required to respond. And your supervisor should know that, right? Bomb threat? Bomb threat. Well, so just some minor changes here. This, is asking that you collect a little bit of additional information if you are the person that gets a phone call saying, I planted a bomb at the health department. So, we're asking that you try to collect that caller ID number because it will show up on your phone. Any voice characteristics like, yeah, that was a female voice, that was a male voice, that person had a lisp or I don't know, whatever. Any details about the conversation, any background noises? Yeah, I could hear screaming and bombs in the background. So we want you just to collect additional information if you get one of those calls. And then it talks about it, if evacuation is necessary, the process by which we do that, which usually starts with the health officer. But if I'm not around, that falls to agency directors. And then if they're not available, to supervisory staff to make that call. And then they're supposed to let me know if I'm not around. All right, Dr. Strong. Everybody knows what Dr. Strong is? So somebody presents at your desk and they're irate or making threats or whatever. You don't feel safe. You feel like you need law enforcement. You can page, oh, you know what? Just a second. I think Alan might be available, or Alan or Dr. Strong. I'm sorry, it should be Dr. Strong. Dr. Strong may be available to help answer your question. Let me page him or her. And so, you pick up the phone, you make that page. So that tells everybody else in the building to call 911 and not to go to your location, right? because we don't want everybody to converge on a location where there's an unsafe situation. Any question about that?
Becky, you might want to cover the
Go back up.
choose to shelter in place or evacuate in a Dr. Strong situation.
Yeah, you want to just say it? I mean, you just did. Go ahead.
So once you hear that, Dr. Strong, you can choose to leave the building or you can choose to shelter in place. Once we have the threat removed, we would ask that you return to our office gathering place. So whether that's the parking area, so wherever we would go in a fire drill or another type of drill. If it's the dead of winter, we can get back together in the front lobby. If it's decent weather, let's go to the parking lot, but somewhere where we can confirm that all of our employees are safe and accounted for.
And maybe if we have to, well, if we have to decide where that is, maybe we'll send a teletask.
Bill, how are you gonna tell me
Yeah.
that it's okay to come back in?
Yeah. You know, so this is just, you know, trying to think through how to keep everybody safe. You know, we don't want anybody to be in an unsafe situation. If you don't feel safe, do what you need to do to feel safe. Okay? Anybody else? Any questions or thoughts or concerns? Okay.
We already kind of talked about this one.
Yeah, this is really more teletask.
Okay. Fire alarm.
So we've been practicing what to do in a fire alarm. The main point in a fire alarm, tornado warning, any of those types of things is that our visitors, we need to notify them, but we can't hold them. If they say, I don't care if there's a tornado warning and I can see the tornado out in the back field, I'm leaving, they get to do that. That's their choice. We, on the other hand, are going to go to our tornado shelter and we're going to shelter in place. We're going to go to our location where we go when there's a fire, which should be out there somewhere, right? If it's a fire, we go out there. But our visitors, you know, they're not required to follow or do what we do. Okay?
But we are responsible to assist them if they choose to stay with us. We need to get them to our shelter.
Yep. And then if we have field staff that are out, so EH, AAA, the staff that tend to be out of the office, it's our responsibility in our department to notify them. So if the alert goes off on the little, who has the box here? EH? You guys have it? So you'll want to let the rest of the agency know in this building that there's a tornado warning somehow, however you do that. If you page or whatever, and then we want AAA to notify their staff if they're out in the field, get a hold of them. We're under a tornado warning. EH, if you got people on the field, you notify them. The reason for that is we don't want them driving around if there's a tornado headed towards our building or headed back to us. Does that sound okay? Okay.
Lockdown policy.
We didn't really change anything with lockdown, did we?
We just changed basically who can do a lockdown. So it used to just be like the health officer, and the health officer's not always here. Like when they were shooting up the Clemens building, the health officer wasn't here, and we had to make that determination without her. So supervisors can make that determination. Okay, master disaster initial response plan.
You missed some of that.
Sorry.
You know, this doesn't happen very often, right? But if there was a huge disaster, like that tornado did come through and it came right through this section of town here in Coldwater, and it, you know, destroyed houses, killed people, you know, we may be required to respond. And so this just really outlines what that plan is. You'll receive notification. You may be asked to report. You can go up now. You may be asked to report, and if you are, you'll be notified of what your duty will be, where to report. Please make sure you always have access to your ID. We should be wearing them, but if you don't wear it usually, you need to make sure you know where it is at all times, so that you can use it. It would be your ticket into or out of a disaster area. So make sure that you have that. And I can remember not too long ago, you couldn't get this way on Marshall. I don't remember what happened. Was that a tornado?
There was a
or-
water main break, I think.
Oh, and so we were able to kind of talk and get around, but
A few years ago, well, several years ago, there was like a mini tornado, whatever, and it was on a Friday night. I was coming from the golf course, and they called to say that the power was out. That's before we had the generators here. Luckily, I hit my badge. Otherwise, they weren't going to let me through because we had to move back seats.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's a good reason to have your badge at all times. Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, they're like, yeah, sure, you work at the health department, right? Yeah. Office closure. So as you guys know, not when we do close an office, it's pretty extreme that we do so. But it doesn't mean that all 3 of our offices or 4 of our offices are closed. We might be closed in Coldwater, but not closed in Three Rivers and Hillsdale. Or most recently, what tended to happen last winter, Hillsdale was closed. This office was on a 2-hour delay, and Three Rivers was open, right? Because that's just how the weather pattern worked out. So if there is going to be an office closure, you're going to get a notification through that text system, and respond as you would. So yesterday we talked a little bit about, well, what if I've been scheduled to work in Three Rivers, or in Sturgis maybe, and I live in Hillsdale, and you've closed the Hillsdale office. You're never required to drive if you don't think it's safe. Okay. And what we talked about over in Three Rivers on Monday was, we're just going to have to understand that could happen, and we're going to have to figure it out. Right. Some people may feel, okay, I can make it. I'm going to drive over to Sturgis and I'm going to work and do what I need to do. And some people are going to be like, yeah, I'm not driving on those roads. Right. So we're just going to have to know that could happen. We may have to cancel appointments that day and reschedule people. This is what happens when situations like this happen, right?
I still work if like Coldwater closes, but Hillsdale and Three Rivers is still open.
Do you have to work? I'm going to let your supervisor discuss that with you.
That's a very good question, and my response is going to be, if your home office is closed, you do not have to report. But you may get phone calls. Because as an IT professional, we still have responsibilities to the rest of the staff that are trying to work. So
Darn it.
you may get phone calls. You may work from home. You may have to do some other things. At one point, we closed the Coldwater office because of weather here. We sent Chris Ash to Hillsdale so she could generate your payroll checks, because sometimes our team we have responsibilities that just can't wait. So administrative staff team has a little bit different rules than some of the rest of you.
Thanks, Chris.
And the policy does state that the employees that are assigned to that office will be notified if they are to be temporarily reassigned to another agency office location.
Thanks, Chris. All right, moving on to robbery policy. Okay, now this almost never happens, right? But it's still in there. It still could. Basically, if somebody comes in and says, I've got a gun and I want everything you have, you give them what they want, right? You try to neutralize the threat, give them what they want. Hopefully they leave, and hopefully somebody can contact 911 for you, or as soon as they do leave, you call 911, right? But we're never going to tell them that they can't have what they ask for. If they want the money in the safe and you don't know how to get into it, that's fine. They can take the whole gall darn safe. I don't care. If that's what they want to do and try and carry it out, that's fine. All right, our tornado, we just kind of really talked about this, right? All right, if you are ever notified that we're going to have a utility shut off, we need you to notify Teresa so that she can be aware and then make necessary adjustments to our scheduled work so that we can handle it. So water's going to be shut off, right?
So
Or-
if you get that kind of a notification, take their name, take their number, get a hold of me, because I'm going to call them back, and we do not want them to shut off our utilities while we are in business hours. And I'm going to do everything I can to get them to not do that until after business hours. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I am always going to try to get them to not do it while we are open.
We need to fix the word phone in that. You can keep going. I think, is that it? Or is there more?
I think that was it.
Pretty sure
That's it.
Okay, so those were the updates to the personnel policies, and we just wanted to work through them here with all of you. Moving on to the all staff meeting. We have a date. It's not just April. Is it April 26th, Alex? I'm looking for you. Okay. I know, I can't. All right, April 26th. So we'll send out a calendar invite that's going to hold the day for you. So this is the day we're looking for everybody to go to the conference center over at ProMedica in the old Kmart building. If you've lived here long enough, you know what that is. And we spend a day together, all staff throughout the entire agency. And we want you to hold that date now. So put it on your calendars. I'll send out a calendar invite. Make sure that it's on your radar that we're looking for you to join us in Coldwater at the ProMedica Conference Center on the 26th. Okay? Any requests for agenda items that day? I'll just ask now. Right? If you think of anything you're really dying to learn or know, let Alex know. Building updates. So we did a lot. We've done a lot of building updates district-wide in the last few years. So we finished the exterior remodel, I'll call it, of the Three Rivers building. That included taking off all of the exterior wood surfaces that required routine painting and replacing those with a material that is more hardy and long lasting and less maintenance. So that is done and it looks really nice. Also over there was an update to landscaping. The parking lot was done last year. In Hillsdale, we did the parking lot this year. We're going to do maybe some internal work over there this coming year. That includes, again, exterior wood on that building as well. Here, they took the bushes out. They're still working on the wreck. Oh, did they?
Yeah, they were.
Must be we were talking about it and they came over here and worked. And then we have been in communication with the county about the bathrooms. Okay, we know it's bad. We know they need to be remodeled and updated. We are working on it. So please be patient. We will keep working with the county to get those updated. We're also going to do go ahead, infrastructure grant.
Yeah, so one of the things that we struggle with as a health department is the grants that we get, they won't allow for capital improvement projects. So they won't allow us to put a parking lot in. They won't allow us to put a roof on. They won't allow us to put paint, carpet, because those are capital improvements to improve the facility. And when you make a capital improvement, it improves the facility and increase the value of the facility. And the grant isn't going to pay you to increase the value of something that you own. So that is kind of how the agency got into the situation where the buildings became in disrepair and they haven't been painted and they haven't been carpeted and they haven't, all of these things, because those are expensive things and the grants won't pay for them. So we were able, because of the COVID dollars, we were able to spend a lot of our local dollars to make some of these big improvements. All three buildings now have new parking lots. The Three Rivers building has that new siding on the outside of it, which means we don't have to pay for it to be repainted every 5 years, which is a cost saver in the future. And we're going to be doing that in Hillsdale. But the really exciting news is we have received a CDC infrastructure grant, and that grant will allow us to make capital improvement projects. So it gives us a funding source that we can pay for these things. Now we are in the process of making a capital improvement plan that will kind of take us into the future and allow us to prioritize what needs to happen. The grant, when we receive notification of the grant, it's a 4-year grant award. So we're going to get it 4 years in a row. This will be the first year that we receive that money. We found out about the grant 10 days before they needed the budget due. Okay. So we had 10 days to prepare a budget for them. And how do you prepare a budget for a capital improvement project if you aren't able to get quotes, because you can't turn around quotes in 10 days? Okay. So we were very general and vague about what we were going to do in year 1 of the grant. So we're not going to spend a lot of our money in the first year of the grant, which would be this year, but we are planning to spend more in years 2, 3, and 4. So we'll be planning this year to be in place to spend those grant dollars in later years. But what we wrote for the first year is we wrote to put drinking fountain water bottle refill stations with filtered water in each one of our facilities, so that you can fill your water bottle with filtered water, and that will allow us to do that. So we wrote that into the grant. We also wrote into the grant some interior paint and carpet. Now we need to prioritize these tasks and the history of the buildings. So the Hillsdale building was built in the early 90s, 92, 93, and it still has original carpet in a lot of it. Okay. It's still got paint that looks atrocious. It looks really dated and very bad. The Three Rivers building was built in the mid to late 90s. So 95, 96, I think.
We opened in 95.
Okay, 95. And so it was redone at that point. This building, the space that we occupy, was redone in the year 99, 2000. So this is the newest facility. It needs the least amount of TLC. It will be last on the priority list. Other things that we have, we generally have to put aside money a little bit every year to save it so that we can do a big project like a parking lot or a roof. The roof for Three Rivers needs to be done in 2029. The roof for Hillsdale needs to be done in 2028. So we've got these big expenditures coming up that we have to do to maintain the structural of the building. So, we need to plan and then prioritize other smaller things that would come forward. So we are working on it. You will see some changes. You may see paint in some areas of this building, probably not carpet here, but we are hoping to do some carpet and some paint in Hillsdale first, some carpet and some paint in some Three Rivers, and this would be, as it is the newest, the last place that gets those type of improvements. That's it.
Not counting the bathrooms, which need to be done yesterday.
Right, but that is not our responsibility to do. The county has a grant to pay for those bathrooms to be remodeled. So they're going to be doing that work and paying for that. So we're kind of at their mercy on that. It's not part of our grant.
Any question on building updates or anything we missed?
Sturgis. Nobody just remodeled or whatever. You guys aware of this flooring issue?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I pitched a big fit with the landlord about that. And she's just like,
So true.
yeah.
What is it? Uneven flooring. Oh, majorly uneven.
So that was a space that had, the 12 by 12 tiles. Some of the tiles and concrete underneath it. Some of the tiles had come up, some not all had. They hired a contractor to go in there and put floating laminate down, and they just put it over top of what was there. So if there was tile there, great. If it was just concrete there. So the floors are very unlevel, and
Scary.
the conversation that I had with her, he says that he leveled it out, and I'm like, no, he did not. He just put it right over top of it. But it's her building. They didn't do that. They didn't do it at all. So if there's an injury, I want to know about it. I hope there's not. But if there's an injury as a result of those floors, I need to know. Or if you think that there's going to be an injury because of the floor, I need to know, because I'll continue to push back at her.
It's like right now, there's no privacy when people are talking or speaking with the interpreter.
Yeah.
A lot of confusion, emotion. And the other thing is, we've had a lot of angry people lately and irate people. And it's like, there's really no safety there. Want to come through that window, welcome.
Yeah. Well, when I think about that, so what I think about is when I go to a hospital and I'm checking in, I go into an office with someone, right? That to me is even more unsafe than what you have now. But to do that is going to take some pretty extensive construction. We're talking about potentially knocking that window off and doing some construction up there in the front. And I think that's a pretty big project. So, mhm.
To even up, just a petition on the outside of the window would be one thing, and have a chair or something that they could come up, at least there would be a little bit of separation on the outside of the window.
I sure wish we hadn't gotten rid of all that Herman Miller.
We didn't. The county did.
But anyway, this is not a suggestion, because I feel like there's so much emotion sometimes that we've been talking about our options.
I mean, we used to have Herman Miller panels that we could have put right there, but they threw them in a dumpster one day.
Is there any update as far as getting those countertops fixed so people aren't ripping their clothes?
I thought we were dealing with that.
I've talked to the county multiple times about it. I'll follow up again.
Thank you for bringing that up. Anything else? Yeah.
Has the ends and WIC always been right side by side? More or less, like in the same area?
You mean where you see the clients?
Where they're checking in.
Oh. Yeah.
Side by side?
Yeah.
I think one of the irate was in this thing. If I was thinking, even if we separated the locations, so the kids or the parents weren't exposed to somebody having an issue.
Why are the IMS people mad? What's going on?
Well, part of it, we had a gentleman the other day, he came in to get a COVID vaccine.
We don't have it.
A flu. We have VFC.
Mm.
We can borrow from VFC to do MIADD currently till we get it in. But he also wanted a flu shot, but he had no insurance, and we do not have uninsured flu shots.
Right.
And you know, so he was all irate about that.
Mm-hmm.
Another incident was a gentleman came in on his lunch break, which I happened to be at lunch myself. And he wanted waivers. The school's telling people, oh, you just gotta go get a paper, fill it out, bring it back to the school. That's not the case.
No.
They have to make appointments. And, you know, if they come in, walk in, we always try to accommodate them.
Right.
But, I mean, he just got nasty about that too. And I said,
Hello?
well, did you have an appointment?
Yep. So we're in a meeting until 10 o'clock today. Who are you here to see?
The immunization for my kid, but I don't know when can I.
Can you come back at 10 a.m.? No?
When can I get him here? On Monday or,
I'll
because I called, I have called a lot of times, but no one answered,
Okay,
other day.
that's okay. I got that.
Do we know what school district is telling people you just go over there?
Well, a lot of the schools just say, go to the health department. Pharmacists are telling people, if you don't have insurance, go to the health department, they'll give you free vaccines.
Including flu, huh?
That was the issue with this gentleman, that
Yes.
he went to the pharmacy and the pharmacy said, well, I don't want to help you, it's free. You know, so.
Well, it's going to be cheaper to get a flu vaccine at the pharmacy than it is here.
Right.
He
And
was
so,
very upset.
yeah, and he was calling other pharmacies. He was just very,
Okay.
That's really the only irate
yeah.
situations we've had.
Yeah.
Those these two, it wasn't like.
No, and it's just, I think it's more here because we're having to use the interpreter services
Right.
for so many people.
Right. Okay.
So it caused it to be very chaotic up there in Chicago.
Mhm.
One translation service WIC is answering the M's people, it's like right by each other.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Okay. Duly noted. All right. Speaking of vaccines, we do have flu vaccine in and encourage everyone to take that. We will not charge you or your family members, your immediate family members, for the flu vaccine, but we will bill your insurance if you have it, right? So I actually got mine on Monday. It's a little late this year. Usually I try to get that in September, but Callie sent a note out. Hopefully you all saw it. We do encourage everyone to get the flu vaccine. Just make an appointment with your friendly public health nurse and they will take care of you. So have you had very many? No. All right. So this is your reminder, get your flu shot. As far as the COVID vaccine, the new COVID vaccine, we don't have it yet. We have no private stock. And that's because we just can't seem to get it. And we're not alone. Other health departments are in the same boat. But as soon as we have it, I'm sure we'll put a message out to everyone that we have it. Yes, Lisa.
Get like a generalized email, like those even with the seniors, I need to know that they can't get approved. I don't want to pass bad message to seniors on about flu shot or whatever. So I need to, maybe Candy can send me something on how we charge or what the deal is or
If they have insurance, we're going to take care of them. Okay.
whether it's medical
When did we get that?
or whatever. When we get this stuff.
What about flu?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So when it comes to seniors that have Medicare, it's probably not an issue. We can take care of them. Yep.
And they can go, the pharmacies are, I know Walgreens is doing the RSV vaccine, COVID, and flu. People, some can just walk in if they have time, otherwise they're encouraged to an appointment. And talked to several people who went there and said they didn't have any problems.
Yeah. Do we have RSV yet? No. Are we going to get it?
We're gonna get it for VFB. But I don't know about.
Because we're still working on the billing thing.
Pharmacy.
Mm-hmm. That was a Transact thing, I thought. No?
It is a transact thing. We haven't gotten to the bottom.
Okay. All right. So we're working on that still. All right. So get your flu vaccine. COVID, we'll let you know when we get here. And of course, we have all of the adult vaccines. If there's something that you need, or maybe you don't know that you need it, again, your friendly public health nurse will be happy to share with you what's recommended for you at this point in your life. And we'll be happy to take care of you. Okay? Director's Award. So when I was at the Public Health Conference last week, we were presented with a Director's Award. This is one of 3 awards that is given out at the Public Health Conference. And so it's pretty cool to get one. The nomination that was sent for us and that we received the award based on talked a little bit about the Children's Special Health Care Program and the U of M collaboration, you know, with transportation and that Amish community with the hearing problems. They can't really get very well where they need to go, right? So we worked it out so that U of M came to them and did hearing clinics here. So kudos to Terry and Nikki and Madonna and Stephanie on the work that they're doing in children's special health care, and for Chris and helping to get us nominated for this award. So thank you to everybody that makes a difference. Thank you. We're going to take pictures tomorrow when we're in Hillsdale, and then we'll get some public notification out about the award. So yay. All right, and then agency committee updates, personnel policy. We don't have anything really kind of going right now, but you do know who your personnel policy reps are, Candy and Chris. And if there are things that come up and you're concerned about them and you think there needs to be a change in the personnel policies, or you'd like something to be implemented, bring it up to those 2 ladies, and then they will bring it forward to the whole committee. The marketing website committee meets on the Fridays after the Board of Health meeting. So they met 2 Fridays ago, maybe last Friday. I don't remember anymore. I would just say, I guess that we are working forward on what to look that's coming up that we need to message on, what's going on with different departments. We try to have every department represented, and what changes and updates do we need to make to our website. Alex, Chris, anything? Josh, anything you would add to that? Yeah. All right. There is a subcommittee of the marketing group on communication, and we need to pull that group back together. They put like an internal, external communication plan together. We've had some back and forth communication. Now we need to pull that group back together. So we need to set a date for that, Josh. And then employee satisfaction is a work group that came about as a part of the strategic plan. And so that group has been meeting. Recently, they reviewed the survey results from the employee satisfaction survey and are working on, what are you working on, Justin?
We're working on trying to solve people not knowing what's going on in the health department.
Mm-hmm.
It's the second survey. Cause analysis.
Root cause analysis. Very impressive. And we're using what to do that? And a fish. And a fish.
Oh,
Fish
fish.
bag.
So root cause analysis using fishbone diagrams. And what else do you guys want to say about that?
Just that once they have their analysis completed of the root cause, then the committee will tackle trying to figure out the solutions to the root cause and can work on trying to make some of this better with smart objectives.
Nice. All right. Finally, we are at items from staff. Your turn. What you got?
Becky, can we talk about the webpage?
We can talk about
We
the
did
webpage.
that, in Three Rivers yesterday about the Board of Health stuff on the website. So everyone, if you are not aware, some people may not be on our website. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see this section over here and this Board of Health agenda and minutes. That has all of the minutes, the packets of information that go to the board. It's everything we communicate to the board. And it also has like the videos. So if you want to watch what happened at the Board of Health meeting on your own time, you can click on this and it will play the video. And you can actually watch what happened during the Board of Health meeting. So you can watch the video there. And if you just want to see the information, you have the meeting materials. So if you click on that, then you're going to get the packet just as the board sees it. This is what the board looks at. So when I send the board communication saying, okay, we have a meeting Thursday, go to our website and look at the packet, they're looking at the same thing that's available to you. So everything that they have communication on is the same thing. All of these pages are what was presented to them. This is the August packet. It has the finances, the bills that were paid, reports from directors. It's all out there. Anybody in the public can read it. You can read it. But it is the same communication that the Board of Health gets. So there's the Three Rivers building, the before and after pictures of the new siding. But that is all available by going to our website and just this bottom corner here, this Board of Health agendas minutes. And that's where you're going to see what's going on. You also can tell when the Board of Health meetings are because they're going to show up in upcoming events. So you'll see the Finance Committee meeting, Program Policy and Appeals Committee meeting. You can also look at the schedule down here. So it's all available to you if you want to take the time when you're bored at home at night. There's nothing good on TV. If you want to watch a Board of Health meeting, you can.
Doesn't that sound like fun? I was watching the Hillsdale Commission meeting yesterday. That was fun.
They're also streamed live.
Yeah. The problem with the live stream is that it's during work hours, and so we aren't to be doing that
Get paid
during
to
work
watch
hours. Yeah, unless you get an invitation to attend. All right. What else do you guys have? Yeah.
It's 75 degrees in our office every day.
Really?
What you can do about that?
Have you mentioned it to Teresa?
Well, we did a while back, but county guys came in. They smacked
You
it.
have to continually complain day after day after day.
Well, we switched from the air conditioning, which did nothing, to now the heat, which is clearly doing too much. So you want to switch off the it's cold. Thank you.
Or the M's are.
Yeah, there are multiple issues with this building. The heat and air is not uniform throughout the building, and we have complained and complained and complained, and they come out and they do stuff, and nothing ever seems to correct the problem. The biggest places we have problem is up front, the mailroom area where Justin and Alan are. That is always out of a regular temperature. Alex's suite is always out of regular temperature. The M's room is always hot. The heat was on in my office all summer with the air conditioner, so it was nice and toasty. Mine, Bernays, and Callie's. They finally turned it off. Now we have no heat at all. So, it's great. But we continue to work with the county. But short of them redoing the whole HVAC in this building, I don't see it getting a lot better. We'll continue to push that up, but I don't think that they have the expertise to fix it with the current system that we have. So,
But you do have to keep telling her, right? We have to let the county know. If it's not right, they need to know. It's not right. Still not right. So they can come and pretend and leave, yes.
Right.
But let's wrap up their time. Yeah, I guess.
Well, and just so you know, Alex, when Laura Sutter's team was back there, they couldn't keep hard candy because the humidity was so bad, it would melt the hard candy. It's been an ongoing issue. We've complained and complained, and they've never solved the problem. So we'll keep complaining for you.
So a positive thing, we've been having monthly potlucks here that I think people enjoy, and our next one is October 31st, and we're giving away a prize for the best past work appropriate.
Yes, work appropriate.
Challenge accepted. Is that what I hear?
And then the other thing, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing about this, is there anything we can do about the cleaning?
Get me about that.
The bathroom in the clinic is disgusting, and just the floors. I just think we're a health department, and I know that it's costly, but when we have people commenting when we close the door and they're looking at the floor and saying, does anybody ever clean in here? That's embarrassing.
I'll talk to him again. We have a problem in every one of our offices. It doesn't matter who the janitor is. It doesn't matter what cleaning company you have. They get in a routine and they get worse and worse. And then you say something, get a little better, then a little bit, gets a little worse. And it is across all three buildings. It's across all cleaning companies that we've had in here. It does not seem to matter who we hire. It's the same issue across the board. She never came back.
Yeah, Josh.
Yes, I'll speak on behalf of our division, Alex and Bill and myself. We appreciate everyone's help throughout the last week with the fairs. Great workload and come back. Time for us to be fair.
Yes, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed some fair food. No fair food? Oh, darn. What else?
When we do get the COVID
I
vaccine.
would like to, I'd like to just say, for, improvements of the facilities. EHSJ here collected so far from where that was 17th person. And just, I am having the park lot with this board, having that handicap sign, some missing, right? Punched up little by little. It looks like professional building. With the exception of the back right now, but hopefully we'll get done. So it's really nice to see it come together. I said, I think it's covered. But Ed, they deserve recognition for that. It's real.
Yeah. We did pay our part for that parking lot.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.